Here we go, our first losers bracket match of the day between Team Predators and the Sky Reapers. This is going to be on Duel at Dawn. This is the smallest map in the tournament map pool, so I expect to see a lot of very aggressive play, some rush down, and also maybe a little bit of spawn camping, considering the spawn points are so close together. But first off, for Team Predators, we have the St. Glaswegian Kiss. This is Mighty Keb's Pyramidion. They have a front Artemis, front Gatling gun, left side Banshee, and the flare gun. Their ally, the Wretched Egg, piloted by Gurus Agurus. This is a Hwachafish, left side light carronade, right side Gatling gun. Their opponents, the Sky Reapers. First off, we have the Skyborn, piloted by Sunstrom, Mobula with center Gatling, dual Artemis on the lower deck, dual Banshee on the outer wings. Finally, their ally, the King's Decree, piloted by Grimmick. It is a Galleon, left side Gatling Lumberjack Hwacha, right side heavy carronade Hwacha with a rear flare gun. Already, the King's Decree has charged across the map, taking the majority of Red Team's fire. This has allowed the Skyborn the opportunity to come up from behind on the Wretched Egg. The Gatling Dual Artemis. An interesting selection of guns. Gives them a lot of disable power and also a little bit of kill power as long as they're able to maintain their Artemis gun arcs. Skyborn going to be forced off the Wretched Egg by the St. Glaswegian Kiss. That Gatling Artemis on the Pyramidion doing a good job. I think Skyborn going to be dropping to his doom here. So it's Gatling Artemis composition for the Pyramidion. The Artemis is a fantastic. Well, let me just very quickly talk about this King's Decree that's about to die. But the Artemis is one of the probably maybe either the first or the second most common gun choice in these competitive matches. It's got a lot of range on it. Basically, it's a long-range disabling weapon. It has explosive secondary damage, so in addition to being very effective at taking down guns and engines, once you've stripped your target's whole armor, it is a good kill weapon as well. Not as fast as a pure DPS weapon like a mortar or a light flak, but as long as you're keeping your opponent locked down, keeping their guns destroyed, you'll eventually be able to kill them with the Artemis. So you see that happening there. Just it seemed like poor positioning from blue team. The Galleon just kind of charged in there, got separated. And then the Mobula, struggling to keep up, got totally flanked by the Pyramidion. And now the Wretched Egg is the one that's kind of caught out here in the open. They did manage to get a spot on the Mobula, so they know where blue team is. And Wretched Egg going to be taking refuge behind a large ship in the middle of the map. Flare gun coming out as well. I guess from the Pyramidion, revealing the Galleon. So there are not going to be any surprises here. Any long-range engagement going to be favoring blue team. King's Decree does have a Lumberjack, and Lumberjack, one of the most powerful long-range weapons in the game. It's primarily used for balloon disable. It has Fletchette as its primary damage type, which has a high modifier against the balloon, and usually will take down the balloon in 3 to 4 shots. So it's a very powerful kind of control weapon. You force your target lower and lower to the ground until they eventually die. But unfortunately, not King's Decree not getting the time to really make usage of that long-range powerhouse. Wretched Egg managing to close the distance. They have the Galleon locked down with their Hwacha. And in the meantime, the St. Glaswegian Kiss has taken the opportunity to go for the Skyborn here. Full armor break with the Gatling. Some Artemis shots. Skyborn hydroing up, trying to stay above the gun arcs of the Artemis. Artemis does not have very good upward firing arcs, so the ship that is on top has a pretty huge advantage in a Gatling Artemis mirror match. Which is why you see these ships here just kind of constantly vying for the vertical altitude. And Skyborn with that timely Hydra managing to give them a positioning advantage. If they get an armor break here, they might be able to kill this Pyramidion. But I don't think they're going to be able to. Well, the Artemis... Oh, the whole arm is actually on fire. It burns down. But where's the Artemis? Where's the Banshee? They aren't able to deal the finishing blow to the Pyramidion. The Pyramidion gets their whole armor up just in time, just as the Artemis starts coming back in. Another Gatling from the Galleon helping out a little bit. And now Red Team their ships are so heavily damaged, they're actually being forced back here. This is not the position they want to be in. They need... The Wretched Egg has no weapons that are effective at this range. So being forced back like this means they're contributing no firepower to this fight. The blue team can basically just snipe them out at this point if they're unable to find cover. And both the red ships, balloons are pretty heavily damaged. We haven't actually seen any balloon kills from the Galleon's Lumberjack. Finally getting the kill on the Galleon. One of the things to note about the Lumberjack is even if you don't manage to completely destroy your target's balloon, one of the core mechanics in this game is that all the ship's components, their effectiveness is based on how much health they have left. So for instance, if your gun is heavily damaged, it fires more slowly, it turns more slowly, it's just more annoying to use. And the same applies for the engines. An engine at low health provides less thrust than an engine at full health. And so when you put damage onto a target's balloon, what that reduces is the vertical acceleration, how fast they can go up and down. So by damaging their balloon, you are reducing the movement vectors that they can utilize to dodge your shots. You're basically stranding them high in the air and making sure they're a sitting duck for any subsequent sniper fire. And unfortunately, St. Glaswegian Kiss, he did make it out of that fight, but he's heavily damaged, and going into a fight with a low health ship is always a pretty huge liability, because if the enemy team capitalizes and takes down your damaged ship first, team wipes very common in this game. Once you lose your ally, you're probably going to go down as well. So going in with a damaged ship that can die very quickly is a huge liability, which is why you see the St. Glaswegian Kiss. He doesn't want to commit. He's just moving forward, poking a bit. I think this is... Yes, Lesmach ammo on the Gatling gun for this St. Glaswegian Kiss, giving him a bit more range, but the Pyramidion is going to have a lot of trouble committing to any fight. But okay, I see what's happening here. The St. Glaswegian Kiss, they're distracting the Galleon. So the Wretched Egg being the red ship at full health, can move in and try to get something done. And I think their plan was to send a Wretched Egg after the Skyborn to try to get a fast kill, but that does not seem to be working out. Skyborn is also came out of that last fight pretty heavily damaged. So if we can see an armor break on the Blue Mobula at any point, they could die very quickly. St. Glaswegian Kiss has left the safety of the northern ribs. So they're more or less fairly committed to this fight at this point. And blue team doing a great job switching targets back and forth. The Wretched Egg moves forward just a bit, and already they're being dual focused by the full might of the Sky Reapers. And this Watcha Goldfish only has one primary weapon. Oh, no. Oh, are they gonna... Okay. That's actually a very tight maneuver. You can see here, this game, all the maps have invisible boundaries on them, so they're basically just giant squares. And what I'm doing right here with the camera is I'm pushing forward. This is the map boundary right here. So what looks like it's really easy to go around this rib, it's actually a very tight maneuver. It's very... If your angle is off slightly, you will get caught right here and die. But Goldfish did make it out of that fight with its life, but not completely unscathed. Sitting at about 30%, 35% permahull. And there's an interesting dynamic at play here. These matches are all timed. We have a 20-minute match timer on each of these games. And at the end of the match timer, the team who has the lead wins. So what we're seeing here is that the Sky Reapers have set up a defensive camp, and red team is having difficulty assailing it. But the thing about that is that red team does not need to assail it. Since they have the points lead, theoretically they could run out the clock and still win. As long as they don't give up a kill before that happens, they'll maintain their 2-1 lead. So at some point, if Team Predators, if they decide to go for a more evasive plan and try to run out the clock, that means that blue is going to have to pursue. Which I don't think is what they want to do, but it seems like red team's kind of poking out once in a while. They're really looking for the right opportunity to commit. I imagine if the Wretched Egg manages to land a really solid Watcha volley to totally disable one of the blue ships, that might be the trigger for the full assault from red. St. Glaswegian Kiss putting out some Artemis fire, trying to disable the King's Decree's heavy weapons. He has managed to close the distance without taking too much damage. His balloon's pretty low. His balloon, if the King's Decree can manage to get that lumberjack back up. Which, oh no! Oh, he's going for a ram! Oh! Moonshining forward! No guts, no glory, man. Doing a lot of job to the, or excuse me, a lot of damage to the blue galleon. But unfortunately, that was a ballsy charge, but he managed to do some damage, but not able to get the kill, dying in the process. Not what he wanted to do. Ramming a galleon is always kind of dangerous. This is the tankiest ship in the game, so it's very difficult to burst down with the impact damage from a ram like that. But I guess they felt that they had to make something happen, that they wouldn't have won in a longer fight. So they went for the fast kill, and it did not work out. Now, going back to talking about the timer. So, with the Pyramidion going down, the score's now tied up. And when a game ends, when the timer expires with a tie, the team that got the first kill of the match will win. And since that is Team Predators, even though that the score is tied up, they currently have the timer advantage. And so, you know, I surmised that maybe they would be playing a little more passively, holding on to their lead, but now that the match is even closer, maybe this might be the point where they decide to go with this a little more conservatively. And yeah, they're totally... both red ships totally concealed here. If nothing else, at some point this will force blue out of their defensive positioning. Because blue does need to pursue a kill if they want to win this match. Pyramidion revealing himself. Taking a bit of Leswalk Gatling fire. However, able to reverse backwards into safety relatively quickly. No real damage done. And you see Wretched Egg hanging out here in the southern ribs. He's waiting for his opportunity to jump these blue ships. He knows they're both heavily damaged. He knows that with the right maneuver, he will be able to close the distance and he will be able to get a kill, but he has to be very careful about it. He has to pick the right moment to move in. And that's Slate Glass Weesian Kiss. He's baiting blue in. He's putting out that very annoying Artemis fire. And now the Galleon's moving forward. I think this might be the opportunity for the Wretched Egg to move in. The Skyborn lagging in the behind, in the rear of this formation. And yes, Wretched Egg going to moving in. We see some Hydro here. Oh no, target's going to be the Galleon. I'm not sure about this decision. I think the Galleon is going to take too long to kill, and by moving forward like this, they've exposed themselves to the Skyborn now. Although we do see Hull Break from the King's Decree. Are we going to see a Hwacha Barrage? No Hwacha Barrage. Armor on the King's Decree being brought up just in the nick of time, but St. Glass Weesian Kiss able to pick up the kill with the Artemis, and at the same time the Skyborn taking down the Goldfish. Now we have a 1v1 fight. And the Skyborn has way more damage on it, so if the armor breaks here, which it does, it only takes a single Artemis shot to finish them off. So a fantastic ambush from Team Predators. You know, whether or not that was the optimal target selection for them, going for the Galleon first, it did work out in their favor. And they have a pretty strong 4-3 lead. Also reporting that there's currently 3 minutes left on the clock. So this is, the blue team could definitely make something happen in these last 3 minutes, but they need a full team wipe, and they can't lose one of their ships in the process. So whatever they do, they have to do it very quickly. As you see, they're just booking it. They're charging across the map. They're charging to the last known location of red. And in the meantime, they're going to lose some of their guns to this Artemis. Target currently is the St. Glass Weesian Kiss. The Skyborn moving forward. St. Glass Weesian Kiss. For a second, they're being dual focused, but it looks like the Skyborn has split off to the Wretched Egg. St. Glass Weesian Kiss is running. Pyramidion is not the strongest ship in the game. It's particularly vulnerable if it gets a dual focus. So Slate Glass Weesian Kiss playing this very carefully, just running on past, taking a lower altitude, trying to stay below the gun arcs of the King's Decree. The King's Decree not contributing any firepower at the moment. They need to drop down. They need to equalize the vertical acceleration. But here comes the King's Decree moving forward. Are we going to see a Hwacha Barrage? St. Glass Weesian Kiss. He's hydroing up, able to continue staying down outside of the Galleon's gun arcs. That's very important. A Pyramidion in the uncontested gun arcs of a Galleon will die very quickly. Galleon has a lot of firepower. And now St. Glass Weesian Kiss. Their target is going to be the Skyborn, the Wretched Egg. In the meantime, keeping the Galleon locked down. Both ships vying for vertical positioning. The ship with the altitude advantage will have the gun arcs advantage, because most of the guns shoot down better than they shoot up. And it looks like St. Glass Weesian Kiss has decided that he's willing to expose his rear to the Skyborn. If that means he can dual focus the King's Decree with his ally, he's going to go for a ram here. And so is the Wretched Egg. They're just rubbing up against this Galleon, pushing him farther and farther downward. The King's Decree losing its balloon for a bit. But unfortunately, this all-in charge, exposing the Pyramidion. The Pyramidion goes down, dies, but the Hwacha Fish is able to pick up the final kill on the Galleon. That was very close. If the Galleon had managed to stay alive just a few seconds longer, I think that definitely would have been game for the Sky Reapers. What an extremely close match.